The Walking Dead Season 3 for me is where everything about The Walking Dead changed. It's where The Walking Dead became what it was going to be until pretty much the very end. In Walking Dead Season 1 and 2, the walkers are very different. The characters are quite different. Everything is different, you know. In the first two seasons, the walkers themselves, they're the main threat. In the first two seasons, to kill another human was a huge deal. Like, in the first two seasons, a single walker was a big problem. Season 3 onwards, it's less so. It's the walkers are a problem, but more of a pest, and it requires a lot of them because the gang have become so efficient at dealing with them. They stop being the main threat, and people become the main threats. And the gang themselves, they're all so hardened by this point that they're all incredibly capable, and therefore have got to get capable at also killing people. So everything changes in Season 3. This is also the season where the governor becomes the main problem. So at the end of Season 2, the farm burned down. The group gets split up and they all leave. At the beginning of Season 3, the main group manages to find a prison, but Andrea is off with now new character Michonne, and they find Woodbury, which is the place the governor runs. However, the governor isn't keen on there being anyone outside of Woodbury at all, so he pretty much attempts to kill anyone. From here, we see the reintroduction of Andrea, the reintroduction of Merle, and then the introduction of new characters like Michonne and Milton, and I'm not quite sure on their names, but some of the other Woodbury members. We also see Tyrese, Sasha join the team. It's interesting. As a kid, I really disliked a lot of Season 3 because of how much time was spent away from Rick and the group and with the governor, Andrea, and Woodbury. And I know that even in the fandom of Walking Dead to this day, I don't think that people like Andrea on the whole. But it was alright watching it one after another, because the difference is now is that we get to binge things these days. Like, you can watch a TV show in a couple of days. Back in 2013 or whatever, when Season 3 came out, I would have been like 15, and each episode would air once a week, and then obviously you get the mid-season finales from here on in as well, where you get 8 episodes and then you have months in between. So any time episodes were spent away from the characters that you really cared about meant that you were spending a lot of time in real life away from the characters that you cared about, and it was incredibly annoying, and that would leave a disdain for the characters that you are spending time with, which made, I think, people hate Andrea more than was probably fair, and the governor as well, although we are supposed to hate the governor. The governor does a good job of being hateable, especially when you are watching back in retrospect and know what he does and what he's responsible for as well. I really like Season 3 because it lays the groundwork for what's to come. It's the first season really where Rick goes sort of unhinged. It's the first season where the group are all equally capable. In Season 1 and 2, you had the main players that were capable: Shane, Rick, Daryl, T-Dog. Outside of that, like, one walker would be enough to make anyone start screaming around. Now everybody, no matter who it is, even Beth, is capable of dealing solo, and that it's good because, again, at that point in the world, I think over a year has passed in total since the virus began. So if you're still alive a year into something that pretty much ended the world, you need to be capable. So it's a good thing that they changed it, to be honest. And a lot of people, I think, over the years of Walking Dead complained that it stopped being so much about the walkers and started being about the dynamic between different people. But I don't think that The Walking Dead would have lasted as long as it did had it continued to only be the walkers as a main threat, because, like we're saying, as time goes on, as the group becomes more capable, something that is not able to evolve or be any different, the walkers are always going to become a weaker and less significant threat, except when in huge numbers, and anybody that's seen the future seasons knows that that's what they had to take it, or where they had to take it in terms of the numbers. They just had to keep throwing more at them, because by the time of Season 3, you've got the group capable of taking on herds just solo, and every single member of the group's capable. So I think a lot of people look at Season 1 and 2 as sort of the golden years of The Walking Dead, that they were better than the others, and I think there was a change in leadership behind the scenes. I'm not sure about it completely because I'm not that in depth about it, but I'm pretty sure that was a thing. So The Walking Dead Season 3, I did really enjoy it. I think it's better when you watch it one after another, so that you're not having to wait weeks and even months between episodes. Some shows are worse because of that. Some shows you're supposed to be in suspense, you're supposed to take a long time to get attached to the characters. I think that's something sometimes we miss these days, is like before the era of Netflix, you got more attached to the characters that you're watching because you'd spend real life years with them. Like, if you were watching The Walking Dead as it aired, you have 11 years with these characters for the most part. Whereas if you were to go back now, and if somebody was never to have seen it and starts watching it today on Disney Plus, and they're the sort of person that can binge watch, they could be done in a couple of weeks' time. They won't have had the time to develop the same emotional attachment to these fictional characters, you know? So, I think some shows are better off binged, some shows are worse binged. I do think The Walking Dead is a good one to have binged, because there are the episodes that are just not as good, but are not as bad when you know that you're going to watch 3 episodes this sitting. It just becomes a bit of filler sometimes. Somebody told me that I should start rating the things that I watch, so let's rate Season 3 of The Walking Dead. Or at least rate it in compared to Season 1 and 2. I think it's difficult to do that because, again, it's very different. It's going to be a lot easier to compare Seasons 3 through 11 because they follow a similar sort of structure, especially in terms of episodes. Season 3 was the first season of The Walking Dead to follow the mid-season finale after 8 episodes, skip a few months, come back and have another 8 episodes, 16-episode season structure. Season 1 and 2 didn't do that. So it's incredibly difficult to compare them. But I think if I was to rank them, it would go Seasons 3 is the best of the 3 so far, then Season 1, then Season 2 is the worst. I'll try and keep updating that as I go if I can remember what my order was. But it was definitely good. And yeah, guys, if you have not already, by the way, do click that subscribe button, and I'll see you later.